let's jump into the Chiefs and the Bills, sir.
Yeah.
And starting, instead of what we have learned about the Bills and how in trouble are the Chiefs, we'll get to that in a second. Clearly, the topic du jour is the offensive offsides called on Kadarius Toney, wiping out what was a game of the century type finish, right? And also a game leading remarkable lateral from Kelsey to Toney for an offensive, again, offsides call. And then the Chiefs' reaction to it. What's your opinion on all of that, Chris?
Well, I feel bad for Patrick Mahomes because I know his wide receivers don't hate him, but it sure looks that way sometimes. Because you're just like, dude, you go out at the trade deadline, you don't really make a big splash. You don't litter that room with talent over the last couple of years. This kind of falls on Brett Veach, man, and Andy, if he has a say in this thing, because you're wasting a year of prime Mahomes. Now, do I think they can figure it out? Yeah. My legs are tired from standing on the table on the Chiefs. Like, I just have to believe that they can figure these things out. And part of it has to do with getting the people off the field that are making mistakes. You're telling me, I don't know, pick some other guy from that room. Richie James couldn't catch that throwback and run it into the end zone. He'd line up on sides. Kadarius Toney's cost him 2 games this year now. Detroit, this one. That's the difference between Patrick Mahomes playing at home, which is what he's done customarily his whole career in the playoffs, and going on the road. And so, having these players, Sky Moore on the field late, and this isn't personal, man, but this is a production business, and I love Patrick Mahomes, even though he beat the Eagles last year in the Super Bowl. I know I'm not supposed to say this sort of thing, but I admire Patrick Mahomes, and I admire what they built there. And I hate that they're wasting a run at it because of one room. And it's not just one room, because the tackles haven't been as good this year. We worried about them coming in. The defense has had injuries, but, they're holding teams to around 20 points a game. I think they're an elite defense. I think they might be the best one in the league when they're playing an Arrowhead. When you saw them in the second half, Buffalo comes out in 12 personnel because they get both tight ends back a lot in the first half. In the second half, they make those adjustments, and they're kicking their butts, man, on defense. And it felt like an Arrowhead playoff, atmosphere. You know what I mean? And then at the end of the game, they just get burnt by that same room in a different form. So, when people ask me, will the drops ever stop? Will the drops be the thing that keeps them out of the Super Bowl? I don't think the drops are going to keep them out of the Super Bowl necessarily, but it's all this stuff that they're doing wrong right now, the detail-oriented stuff. And I don't understand if it's an Eric Bieniemy thing. I don't, because it's not like last year they had the greatest show on turf and they scored 30-plus points in the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? They had to outscore the Eagles with a group of guys out there. They still have those guys, but the guys aren't doing the little things right, and it's burning them.
What's your level of concern for Kansas City?
As concerned as I am about the Ravens or the Dolphins, they're in that pack.
Okay.
You got to admit this, because we churn this machine, right? You and I were in the media.
Yes, sir.
And we set the narratives in motion. If we didn't know anything about the Chiefs in the past, you'd be like, and you just took this year in a vacuum, you'd be like, this team's frisky. Their wide receivers aren't real good, but their quarterback, he can win just about any game. And that's the thing about them, is they can beat anybody, but anybody can beat them. And that's the difference. And especially when you go on the road, am I concerned about their ability to get to the Super Bowl? Yeah, now, like everybody else. They're going to have to go on the road to win. I still would like them in a matchup with Miami. I'd have to look closer at the Baltimore matchup, but I don't think that, give me a team in the ACC that you don't think they have a chance against. In the AFC. In the ACC, they beat them all, but in the AFC, give me a team that you think, more than 7 out of 10 times beats the Chiefs.
Yeah, I hear you.
You're asking the question. You got to answer this one.
Give it to me one more time, Chris, because the guys are too busy laughing in the studio for me to hear you.
Is there one team in the AFC that you're like, yeah, that team's better? They're gonna beat the Chiefs most times they play them
in the AFC.
Neutral site in the AFC.
In the AFC. I got to be honest with you. Right now, I take Miami.
Okay.
I take Miami. I really would take Miami.
It's a big leap.
I get it, but Tyreek Hill has it out, and certainly the way that the game went down in Germany, where Trent McDuffie, who the Chiefs used one of the draft picks they got from Miami to draft, strips the ball from Hill, and they score what ended up being the game-winning, eventual difference-making touchdown on defense. I bet you that sits really poorly with him. And
I expect a totally different game from him if they see him again.
Absolutely. 100% I do. And on a neutral site, too. Not an Arrowhead. I mean, I saw it in a neutral site.
Miami being at home,
I'm just, I don't know. I think Miami would win it right now. But you can't count them out. You can't count them out.
I trust the QB. I trust the QB. It's a weakness of mine.
But seeing them complain about the officiating is so jarring to me.
Oh, that's jarring.
It's so un-Chiefs-like, but Chris, thanks. I know that's what they do not like him there. My God, do they not like him there? No barbecue for him. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.